I'm a CapCut girly too.
I love that.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that wants to start sports content and content creation?
Yeah, it's kind of scary in the beginning because you're like, is anyone even gonna watch? Is anyone gonna? And honestly, by the time you kind of start and you kind of get into it and you start writing and feeling, at that point, it just doesn't really matter anymore. It's kind of just about fun. So if
Yeah.
you've been thinking about it, if it's been on your heart and your mind, just write something and record it. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Nobody's gonna see it. I
Right.
mean, the more you record, the more you post, the more people are going to see it.
Yeah.
My views aren't anything crazy, but I get a lot of connections. I get a lot of, people commenting on things that I didn't even think anyone was going to care about. So I would say just lose your ego, put yourself out there, start writing stuff, start recording stuff, and like, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. Um, what's the worst that can happen? People just don't like your stuff, and then you end up not liking it, and then you can stop. But what if you do end up liking it, and then
Right.
you get better, and you start writing better, and you start meeting new people? You
Right.
just never know what can happen, especially when you're in love with it, and if you enjoy it. I
Yeah.
mean, why not? Just go for it. We
Just
live
go
in a
for it.
day and age where everything's on social media, you
Yeah.
know? So there's a need for people to make videos about everything and anything because you never know what people are going to want to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you? I feel like you've been in the game for a little bit and have kind of gotten comfortable with
Yeah.
podcasting and stuff like that. Like, as
Yeah.
a new person that's kind of just starting and getting into it,
Yeah.
what advice would you have for me or anybody
Yeah.
trying to start out?
The biggest thing that I've heard from other podcasters is consistency. You know, you have to build the reps,
Yeah.
and sometimes it is having a show or a podcast that, hey, maybe I wasn't my best, maybe that wasn't, or I missed a few things, or whatever the case may be. It's kind of just shaking it off and then going to the next one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Not everything's gonna hit. You're not gonna get,
Yeah.
hundreds of likes every post. You're not
Right.
gonna, but as long as you stay consistent and you actually kind of know what you're talking about, I mean, eventually one's gonna hit. And then
Yeah.
after that, even there's gonna be stuff that doesn't hit, and then there's gonna
Right.
be things that go viral. So it's just like you said, all about consistency
Right.
and like actually genuinely connecting with the
Yeah.
videos that you're making because
Yeah.
it can get frustrating. I
Oh
mean, it
my
takes a
gosh.
lot of time to film. It
My
takes a
gosh.
lot of time to edit it. It probably takes twice as long to edit. Then you
Yes.
got to post. It
And
can get
creating,
overwhelming, but just staying with it as long as you keep doing it, I mean, you'll
yeah.
catch a rhythm. I've definitely found my rhythm a little bit more recently.
Yeah, creating clips is the hardest thing for me too. There's definitely easier ways to go about it, but like creating the clips, posting them to different social media platforms takes a lot of different time.
It
A
does.
lot of time to
It does.
do that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And then you're right. Like there's things that you feel like, my God, this is going to be so good. And you're really confident about it. And it gets 50 views. Uh,
Yes.
and it can be disheartening. I've definitely have moments where I posted something and I look at the views and it's not where I want it to be. And it does take you back a little bit, but you have to have the mindset of compartmentalization. All right, let's
Yes.
move on, move forward. Let's
Yes.
create, because the biggest thing for content creators is they stop because they don't see the results right away.
Yes.
And the more you can just say, hey, look, that didn't hit, but let's just try something different. And it's weird because there's things I do post on my TikTok that do hit, and I'm like, whoa, this came out of nowhere. Like, and so it's just sometimes it's finding the timing of things,
Uh-huh.
finding, like, and I can't get into the specifics of the algorithms,
Yeah.
but finding the timing of things, finding but obviously finding what works for you in your own style. um yeah, it's really just trial and error.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, especially with the different platforms, right? Like videos perform so much differently
Mhm.
on Instagram versus TikTok or
Yeah.
Facebook versus YouTube Shorts. Like
Yeah.
there's so many different outlets. It's like at some point you can't kind of cater to one. You can't make content just for
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think you just got to make it and see what you
Yeah.
like and kind of just tinker around a little bit And that's what I would going back to like not striving for perfection, right? Like there's no perfect written column, there's no perfect video. It's kind of like what makes sports, right? Is like just kind of going out there, doing your best, putting it all out there, and then however your performance goes and people receive it, then that's kind of how it is, you know?
Exactly.
It can be, you know, the worst performance at some points and the best performance at some points,
Yeah.
but as long as you just keep going, you'll kind of have
Yeah.
a better idea of what people are looking for.
Right. Truly. For me, it's also having an open mind to things because when I started podcasting in 2017, reels weren't a thing. TikTok was not a thing. Um, you know, a lot of the visualization of what we do now was not a thing. And so really podcasts were just audio format. And so, this is gonna sound weird, but I started listening to my podcast on SoundCloud.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I had a little bit of a following there, and then I moved it to Spotify. No, it was actually Apple or iTunes actually, iTunes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy just like in the last
yeah,
even just like 5 to 10 years how much has changed and how much
right.
we the ways that we consume media even like I mean YouTube on a TV, you know, like
Yeah,
10 years ago I wasn't watching YouTube on TV and now
that's
cable
all
is
we
like
do.
non-existent because YouTube
Exactly.
is everything. So it's been interesting to watch kind of how everything works together and what
True.
people are doing
Yeah,
and learning especially from people like you to see like what used to work, what didn't work, what can we bring back, what can we not bring back, you
yeah,
know.
and
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 that's the
that's
beauty of like talking to people like you know,
yeah.
getting a lot of insight about
Sure.
what kind of been going on.
Yeah, definitely. Having that open mind, because I remember, 2 years ago when I restarted the brand, somebody suggested TikTok, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But TikTok has been my biggest platform.
Yeah, same here. Same here. It gets the views and it gets a lot of followers. People, I feel like people feel more connected on TikTok for some reason.
Yeah,
Instagram's a little slower, but I was on the same boat. Like TikTok in the beginning for me was like, you know, I would watch videos kind of just to cringe at people,
yeah,
but it did turn into this like huge media thing where I watch a lot of news and stuff like that from TikTok, right? Or from Instagram. That's the way that a lot of people are consuming news. So a lot changes. The algorithms change and stuff like that. So I totally agree with you on that part.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think and how in the next 5 years what podcasting will look like in general too.
Yeah, yeah, because like you said, podcasting, a lot of people just used to do audio. That was a huge thing, but now people like crave watching a podcast,
And
you
also
know,
too,
watching an hour-long conversation,
yeah,
which is very interesting because I do too. Like if I'm listening to a podcast, I enjoy actually watching the conversation rather than listening because I feel like I retain more information when I watch people talking.
yeah.
So I see a lot of change in that too. Just the way that people are willing to just watch conversation happens or watch somebody talk, because it is a little bit more engaging.
Right, absolutely. And also like, live, going live too. I've done that on my wrestling podcast with my partner there. And it's really really helped like just bringing people in.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable going live, that's definitely up your alley if you can do that.